Hello, and welcome to Word from the Woods. I'm speaking to you from the surface of an icy lake deep in the Maine Woods. Those of you who've been following my videos know I'm spending the winter alone at the off-grid cabin here on the shore of the lake. It's mid-February, and the deep cold that we've had over the past few weeks has granted me a special superpower. I can walk on water, frozen water, that is. This makes my life much easier. I go to town for mail and supplies about once a month, and until the lake freezes over, I need to trek out to my car about 3.5 miles through the woods, up and down hills, pulling my gear sled. Now that the lake is frozen, I can walk across the nice flat surface of the lake, which is generally the snow is packed down hard by the wind, so I don't have a lot of trail breaking. It is 2.3 miles in that direction to a boat launch, and 1.6 miles from there along a plowed road to my car. A much easier trip, and a beautiful one too, as I'll show you in a few minutes. Now, the gear that I need. Okay, I talked about my gear sled. I'll show you how I attach that to myself. I have snowshoes on. There's not a lot of trail breaking when the wind is packed with snow, but there are times after fresh snowfall when I have to break trail, or there are patches of just bare ice and the crampons in the snowshoes keep me from slipping. I have my trekking poles to give me traction, allows me to use my upper body to help pull myself and the sled along. And a word about safety. Now, I need to be sure the ice is thick enough. I rely on the advice of a friend who has lived near here most of his life and knows what kind of conditions make the ice safe all the way across. Now, just to be extra safe, I carry these ice spikes. Should I break through, I can pull myself out hand over hand onto thicker ice. If any of you really want to try this yourselves, I am including a short video where I talk in more detail about safety measures. There's a link in the notes below this video. Now, the sled. It's empty right now because this is just for demonstration purposes. I will show you what it looks like when it's full in a minute. And here are poles attached to the sled. And then I lock poles attached to the sled. Two poles that are attached to a harness that I buckle around my waist. So I grab my trekking poles and I'm good to go. Recently, I made my first trip to town in 4.5 weeks. On my return, I was excited to make my first trek across the ice this winter, from the boat launch on the opposite shore of the lake back to my cabin. My sled was heavily loaded with supplies, especially food. The total weight I was pulling was nearly 100 pounds. But it was a gorgeous, sunny winter day, and the views compensated me for my effort. Here I can see the Spencer Mountains on the horizon. I also had good views of the Whitecap Range. The Appalachian Trail runs along the ridgeline. As I crossed the ice, I was aiming for the leaning birch, which you may recall from an earlier video. It's a tree along my shore that I can spot from over 2 miles away. It was special to my mother Deanie and me when she was alive. And it's even more special to me now that Deanie has passed, because her ashes are scattered at its base. I feel she's guiding me home.
As I get closer, the leaning birch gets easier to see. And finally, it guides me back to my cabin. I always feel a little surge of joy when I get here. Thanks for joining me on my walk across the ice. I'll see you again in my next video.